Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on This Needs to Be Read. Our author today is Camille Baker of The Moment We Met, Summer Reading. I said that early so you can make a note and you can be Googling and looking on Amazon for her information while we're talking. She will give you more exact information at the end of this interview. But I'm excited about summer reading. I'm excited about having books that are leisurely to read, because being in business for yourself, you end up doing a lot of businessy stuff. So every time there's a treat that comes along that gives me a mental vacation, I enjoy that. And I bring this out specifically because as I'm reading through her book, and of course I want to see who she thanks and who she acknowledges, one thing she acknowledged was that writing a book during the pandemic had its challenges. And she used the term that I had never heard before, but I think I've experienced it: source language intrusion. So she could talk some more about that when she joins the conversation. But I am excited about summer reading and a little bit of reality, but a lot of this is not my life, not my problem. Have you ever tried dating online or apps? Yeah, a little bit of that. Looking for love and trying to be successful along your career path. Even though this is a fiction book, I tell you, I relate to a lot of this in real life. So mental vacation, because it's not my problem. I don't mind reading someone else's little hiccups along the way. But the moment we met, thinking about being in love, thinking about searching for romance or letting it find you, as well as trying to climb the corporate ladder or to grow your business. If you don't know, I'll be one of the people to tell you, love and business is definitely a challenge. Oh, and one more thing. Let's throw in family dynamics, because you're not just out there by yourself looking for love. You have family and friends that have to let you know their input on your choices. So while that's reality, again, Camille Baker puts it in Have We Met in a novel form, so you can remove yourself from the problem and read other people's issues. Welcome to This Needs to Be Read. Camille, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I am good.
You covered everything, and as you heard me say, I'm glad it wasn't me. Looking at navigating the dating apps, like I've been married 2 years now, and I don't know if I could go back out into the wild. I don't know. But tell me lots of things. I'm going to put a couple of questions together, of course, about the writing process, and those who are tuning in today who want to write a book and have thought about it and said, I didn't know this interview was going to be about writing a novel. Well, I want to hear, some of your process and give some people tips, but also I want to talk about your main character, Tawanda. I remember when I turned 30, and that was a big deal for me. And how did she come to be? Because I always hear about characters like coming to life right in front of the author. So I guess the Tawanda and the writing process. Let's start there.
Yes, so Tawanda was actually a side character in Have We Met, and the moment I read the first draft of that book, I knew I wanted to get her own book. Like, she just popped off the page to me. I wanted to find out more about her story. I wanted to flesh her out more, and there's only so much you can do when they're in that side character role. So I was basically just putting pieces in of her in that first book, and then the moment we met is really her time to shine. So my writing process with it, I had notes that I had written years before, because I knew I wanted to write her story years before as I was working on the first book in the world. And so I revisited those notes. I wrote the first draft, and it was completely wrong. Like, I just read it and was like, this is just not doing what it needs to do. I have to rewrite the whole entire book. And so I did that. Before I go into a revision, I usually make a whole bunch of notes. I ask myself questions. If something is feeling off, if something's not moving, if something about her character isn't ringing true, I write questions and I try to figure it out before I go into that next draft. Her character was definitely deepened and fleshed out each draft. It got better and better and more clear.
Now, for the listeners who will later pick up a copy of The Moment We Met by Camille Baker, tell me 30th birthday, for me, I remember I told people I didn't even know or I wasn't even close to that I'm expecting gifts for my 30th birthday. So as she's looking towards her 30th birthday, does she have that same enthusiasm? Because it sounds like she was written before this book, like she existed, like this book was first or something, but the way you released it was in reverse, it sounds like. Am I following?
So this is happening after the first book happens. So the first book happens, so it's chronologically correct. Like the first book happens, and then maybe half a year later, the second book happens, The Moment We Met. But for Tawanda, for her 30th birthday, she is kind of not even paying attention to it. And so in the first book, we see her celebrating her birthday. It's a few weeks later after the fact, but she eventually goes to celebrate it. And so I guess one can assume in that time between novels, her job situation's gotten worse because instead of her birthday celebration happening a few weeks later, like now it's just like she doesn't have anything on the plans. The only thing on the plan is to finish this busy season at work. So yeah, she's definitely not paying attention to her 30th until her family forces her to reckon with the fact, like, this is how you're doing it right now? Like, it's your birthday and you're working late? And so that is the catalyst for her making some changes.
Wow. Now, if she wasn't focused on her birthday, if you're busy at work, I can imagine you're not focused on your own birthday. Love wasn't on her radar at first. So don't give it away to the people who haven't read the book. But was the dating app her idea, or was that like, okay, the friends were in that vein of this is how you're spending your birthday? We're going to put you on a dating app. Like, what did they decide? How did this dating app come up? Because I think that was a great ad. Out of all my single life, and even with my friends now who are still single, when they call me with a dating story, I think it's fun to listen to, and I do laugh at them, and they're like, don't laugh at my pain. But it's like, man, I don't miss it. I don't miss being out on the dating scene and having these stories that do become funny later. And every time I've introduced, hey, have you thought about a dating app? And they cringe. So it's nice that you brought that in because that's what people do now. You swipe left, you swipe right? So I think that the dating app is touch to the story. So was it her idea or her friends and family idea?
So I totally feel the same way about dating apps. Like, it's definitely cringe, definitely like I like laughing about other people's stories, but I'm okay with not having those bad stories for myself. Yes, like give me the meet cutes, give me the meet me out in a wild and approach me in a way that I will not immediately shut you down because I'm quick to do that usually. But so with Tawanda and the dating app, so Met is like my touch of magic, right? It's a touch of your loved ones that have left you, like still being present in your life, still helping you meet the people that you need to meet. So that's what the app represents. And she did not choose to get this app. If she had the choice, she would say no. But her cousin friend, a cousin of her cousin is a cousin. Her cousin friend was able to, after she had her go with the app, that's Corinne from the first book, at the end, and I don't think that's too much of a spoiler, she's able to go ahead and choose if she wants to share it with someone. And, of course, she chooses the person who would be least receptive to it, which is Tawanda.
Oh my God! I just thought that was a great dynamic because dating it's a challenge anyway. And then you add online, and any story you've heard about online dating, could be very extremely bad or miserable, or it was so great online until we met in person. Like you can have, I'm sure anybody listening to this interview they have a story. They have a story, blind date story, whatever. But the importance of family, the importance of work, having purpose, and then the dynamics of having a loving relationship and having the time to invest in all of those things is something that is real, but like I started this interview, I appreciate that it's in a fiction form and it's not me. So I want to dive into it and know all about, what everybody had to say, who did what, and I have to go back. I feel like I've seen your first book, but I don't think I've got the opportunity I didn't have the opportunity to interview you for it. I feel like I did, but anyway, I feel like we've been connected, you and I. So I have to go back and make sure that I read the first book as well to connect with this series, because I was like, I feel like I have, but I haven't, but I feel like I have, so I must go back and read it. So today we're talking about The Moment We Met, and I know our time is like past over really, but Camille, thank you so much for being on This Needs to Be Read. Where would you like for people to visit you outside of our conversation today?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And if you want to connect with me, you can go to my website, CamilleBaker.com, and from there it has all my social media links. I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter, and if you want to know what I'm reading, you can follow me on Goodreads as well.
Fantastic. Much success as you continue to get this summer reading out to more people who need it. We all need a mental vacation from time to time, so thank you for bringing that for us. Thank you for your writing, and talk with you again soon, I hope.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to This Needs to Be Said. I hope you've gained something from what has been shared. Send me your comments and show ideas through the website at TNTBSmedia.com. I'd love to hear from you.